Then the next question is, how did you find out about Accessible Space Incorporated, this place, Sky Forrest Acres? How long did you have to wait to get on the waiting list? Because I want to get across the point that it takes a long time.
We're in Carson Valley, so it wasn't very convenient, but I commuted from Reno to do all my stuff, and here and there for a while. But so many people were getting robbed and beat up in that building. It was really terrible. It was, that's probably why you get some of your complaints are minor compared to that place. But Estates, the gal with the black truck lived there for a while too, and it's just a tough place. But
they were trying to get me to move from here to there.
Well, that's why, because it's a Hispanic neighborhood, and they're very poor. The collection of people inside were really, one guy let people in. He was an alcoholic, and he let them in to, and his friends had always beat him up and stole his money. And then another guy across the hall was shooting heroin, and he was with the ex-wife of the guy across the street, Carl, that was alcoholic. And then there was a guy in there who had a pit bull that was not on the leash, and it was playful, but he was jumping on you, and it just, it was just.
And with a person with disabilities, even if the animal's playful, it still can knock you down, it can trip you. There shouldn't be an animal running around off leash.
And now I'm on a walker from having to clear their snow from the stupid snow protocol that someone doesn't. It's crazy. But in any case, I got back to the area. I just left there. I didn't want to get hurt. I got beaten to death in Detroit, and I didn't want to get beaten anymore because I don't have much to. I'm wearing down pretty bad. So in any case, went back, and then I'd say about 7 years. Then after.
Well, the national average is 3 to 5 years.
It's a challenge, and then they don't really care about you being disabled before you get in here. And even when you're here, they don't care about you being disabled.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be a facility for the disabled, and they don't care.
Well, I tried to have Suzanne help me once, and she said she saw to one of her numerous vacations, and then after her vacation, it was like we're at or past the deadline, and she was like, I don't want to, she didn't say I didn't want to help you, but it was like, why are you in my office type thing? And she
has no right to even say that to you. That's her job.
Well, no, she didn't want to, and then she faxed some of the paperwork to the office, and I thought we were done, and then she was beating on my door, and the paperwork wasn't done right, and well, she was the one that was helping me, and then she's a terrible person.
They need to know that, because everybody, she's so nice and she's here to help. The reason she came here was to make things better, because Steve was here by himself and he's yelling at everybody and all the mess that we go through with the bullying and the harassment from him. And so she was supposed to come and make things better, but she's just as bad, just in a different way. She's catty. They talk about everybody. They giggle when you're walking by and all that kind of mess, and whisper behind your backs. She bragged to me about how she would deliberately park in Marlene's parking space just to get her pissed off, because Marlene would come home and can't park in her spot. And just nasty. The two nasties.
Who parks in Marlene's spot?
Susan, she would brag about doing that just to piss Marlene off,
Crazy.
And it's like a game to them, playing with people's lives. And it's like, these are our lives. People with disabilities, we go through enough.
Steve said I wasn't allowed to park up here in the receiving areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him just like a couple weeks ago, I said, Steve, the new people are parking in the receiving areas, and it's getting kind of hard for people to unload their groceries, and he's unloading once a week for the stuff. He said, I changed the format. They're allowed to park there now.
And who says he has the right to change that? And that's bull, because those are receiving areas when people are coming home from the hospitals and doctors and shopping and stuff. And there's nowhere else to get out, that you don't have to walk a long distance uphill to get into your apartment from the rest of the parking area.
Yeah, well, he was just doing that to be a bully.
But he doesn't have that authority, and he oversteps his authority so much here. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable the crap that goes on here and they get away with.
Well, that's just a small example of him making up rules, and then when the rules are broken, because it actually turned out to be pretty good to have a place to unload your groceries.
Well, that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah, and then when I was too tired, I would stay there tonight and then move the car the next morning. And because with my new having to use my walker, it's a lot tougher to unload the. In fact, I'm not picking up food as much as I used to. Just the fact that I don't have the energy to do this all as much because the parking restrictions have changed. And so he affects everybody, and he doesn't know it.
No, he knows it. He does it on purpose. He's just nasty. See, I've lived here much longer than you. I'm one of the original tenants. And
Peggy and Suzanne and Steve are always in the office together. I've never gone to the office without her being with I call it the Gossip Club.
yeah.
And
they go out to lunch every day. And in court, when I told him that Steve gets off work at 12 and she gets there at 10, but he stays in the office till 3 till she gets off. Because he's listening to everything anybody tries to tell her. He's bullying people so we can't report stuff to her. You know.
Exactly. He's only there because he doesn't want to get fired.
And then, so nobody can talk to her, so what's the point of her being there?
You're right, there is no point.
You know, and then the two of them, he goes to her house. You know, they hang out together. They go out to lunch together every day, which she pays for everything. But the point is, in court, they were trying to lie and act like it was just professional, and she's not lying in court for her friend. And they've got a relationship way outside and above and beyond the what's supposed to be for the job, to the point where neither one of them are doing their jobs, and they're just covering for each other.
Exactly.
But you know, they are trying to make me out to be a disgruntled person because of the lawsuit I have filed against them. And it's like, well, how did the lawsuit get filed in the first place? Because you guys weren't doing your jobs and you wouldn't repair this place. That water leak that I reported 4 years ago is still there. A plumber to this day still has never come to this apartment.
A plumber hasn't come to the apartment to fix the problem?
No, it's been 4 years. That's why there's so much mold in my apartment and leaking and penetrating through to the walls of the, because I share that whole long wall to the recreation area is the wall to my apartment.
Well, how come the guy, Bill Platts from the city of South Lake Tahoe, didn't file a complaint against...
he has a copy of the environmental health people's report and did nothing. He's known about it for 2 years too.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's insane. I can show you email conversations between me and Bill and all the photos I sent him, plus the date and time that he got a copy of the report, and they've done nothing. And then they tell me crap like, well, we'll fix it when you move out. No, you're supposed to move me out, and I can't move my stuff to any other location because it's contaminated, so I'll be taking the contaminants to another location and still getting sick from it. All my stuff has to be, and this is what the environmental health people told us, has to be what's called remediated. So they've got to clean everything up. So I can't even just pick up and go. My stuff has to all be remediated. And water's dripping from my ceiling. So I put, I'd say 95% of everything is already in storage because I didn't want anything else being destroyed by the water leaking from the ceilings, from the heating unit or whatever you call it.
Why you had stuff in the hallway a long time ago?
The boxes that I had, all those boxes.
Yeah, I went to the bathroom once and there was a lot of stuff in the hallway. I thought, well, that's strange.
We were taking it to the car and loading the car trip after trip and taking it down to storage.
Well, it just makes sense because you're trying to at least get some of the stuff aired up, too.
Well, what they said is that the boxes and stuff couldn't be packed inside the apartment. Otherwise, no matter how well we wash it, it's still contaminated. And so, like, the laundry had to be washed 3 times. The dishes had to be washed with bleach and all this and vinegar and all that. And so I had a table and boxes out there outside of the apartment where I would wash the items, pack it right there, not inside the apartment, and then put it in the car to leave. Because that was the only thing I could do to get stuff out of here. So it wouldn't be recontaminated by just the act of packing it in the contaminated location. And so I was able to get things like the kitchen stuff and my clothes and stuff decontaminated. But the furniture and all that stuff requires a more in-depth process. And there's a lot of things that can't be remediated, like the couch and pillows and things that are porous. So those things have to be replaced. And they have over $500 million in insurance. My attorneys told me. And they refusing to pay for any of my medical expenses, to have my stuff remediated or anything. They're refusing to do anything. And then, remember I told you I found out additional information that I didn't know? Because I had thought it was a new corporation, and so they're learning as they go along, and they just need to get their acts together, and they're disorganized. No, for one, they've been around for 27 years.
Well, yeah.
They have 150 locations in the United States. They get $50 million a year to provide these filthy, nasty, unsafe conditions for us to live in. So they're pocketing the money and saying, screw us. And there have been deaths. There's like 8 deaths in the location that they were trying to get me to move to, and hazmat had to come out. In, what is that area called? It's Santa Cruz area that they were trying to get me to move to. So that building's even worse than this one. And
did you go down and look at it?
I physically can't do a drive that long.
Oh, I know.
They wanted me to move there, but that place is worse than this for mold and everybody getting sick, and the death toll's even higher there.
Oh.
Yeah, so
you found out about the death toll?
Person who was a 7-year caretaker wrote a report about it online.
Oh, wow. Well, that's too bad. I thought Santa Cruz was supposed to be a nice place.
Yeah, sounds nice, but doesn't all their buildings sound nice? And don't they all look pretty on the outside? But no, so it's not just here. It's the way they operate, period. And the way they operate, once the investigators and the federal people really start looking into it and talking to people, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg. God only knows how many people have died. I mean, we know about 16-ish, and at least another 20 people who are seriously ill.
Well, 16 people have died here?
No. Between here and the location over by Santa Cruz. I'm trying to think of the name of the place. And so, like I said, the numbers are rising and rising. The more questions that are being asked, the more information is coming out into the open. And it's like, wow. I thought it was kind of isolated. For a while, I thought it was just racial profiling and that they were just targeting me. And yes, they are racist. And a lot of people go, no, they're just bad people. You can be a bad person and be a racist on top of it. You just give me an extra dose of all your ugliness, even though you're ugly to everybody. But you're especially ugly to me. But it's more to it than that. It's so much bigger than anything I ever thought all this time. You know, I thought it was a new company and that they just had their sea legs and just didn't have their acts together and needed to get it together. I didn't know that this has been going on for a long time. There are actually reports online about people dying in their care because some of their facilities, they manage like the medications and
wow.
There's one person, I've got to read this stuff to you and show it to you online. This guy, he didn't get his medicine. They missed 3 doses of his seizure medicine, and then he went into severe convulsions and died. And at that facility, one of the things that they're paid and to do is to administer the medications to the people. It's one of those more...
Oh, that's wild.
And the neglect caused this person's death, and they were sued. And it was a big lawsuit, and the people won against them. And when you start asking questions, a lot comes up. But I wasn't asking questions because I wasn't hunting for anything. I just wanted my situation resolved so I can deal with my health. I came here to rest and heal. I never expected to get into anything this big or this far-reaching at all. You know, the last thing in the world I would have expected to encounter, but it is what it is. And oh my gosh, it's serious. I mean, this is no joke. This is a lot.
Well, did they put a radon test in the community center?
No.
Well, Jim Gorman said he put in...
everything needs to be rechecked.
Well, I think, they just did this last week. And they pulled the testing out on Wednesday. I haven't heard the results yet. And Maureen and I did her own test. The first one came out positive at a 5.8, and then the second one, I don't think she's got the results back from, you mailed to Texas?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have the results back on the second one, and then there should be the third test. And,
now, you mentioned the name Jim Gordon. I'm not familiar with that name. Who is that?
Jim Gorman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's in the, did you watch the survey yet? Or not survey, the lecture yet on my shows?
Oh, so he came here?
Oh, Jim, yeah. He's the big guy. He's the one that fixed my cabins.
Okay.
He's a great guy. And then I found out from the maintenance guy at Tahoe Senior Plaza that this building has radon mitigation already. Is built into it from as a HUD guideline. And then I went through all the planning for the building, and I didn't see anything in the plans at the Tahoe Senior or at the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, but they said it's probably at the South Lake Tahoe Planning Department for that particular area. But HUD Housing says you're supposed to have testing for radon every 2 years. It's one of the rules. And
one of the many rules that they're breaking, you mean?
Yeah, it seems like they didn't even know that they had mitigation here, and they probably didn't. I asked them the same note I asked about the mold, I asked about the radon. And then they've never come back and told me about the radon. And then when Marlene was going through her thing with the radon, Marlene said that they're treating her pretty bad because like she was doing something wrong.
Yeah, that's what they do. Anytime you bring up anything that can point fingers at them not taking care of things the way they're supposed to, they start treating you like crap, looking at you crazy, got all this nasty stuff to say to you.
Yeah, it's caused the radon thing has caused a big deal in this area. The two low-income housing places just down the street, both of them are into radon mitigation right now. The mitigation needs repairs.
And I told Bill Potts, some of the symptoms of some of the issues that we were having reminded me of radon, and I wanted to look into it. And he said, no, there's no radon here. There's no radon in Tahoe. This is Bill Potts told me to my face this. That
he said the same thing to Marlene, and I've already complained to Austin Sass on the South Lake Tahoe board of getting this guy out there lying to people.
Yeah, because he straight out lied to me and said that there's no radon anything here in Tahoe, that it can't possibly exist in Tahoe because of the altitude, and came up with this whole big old story because I questioned some of the symptoms and stuff that we were having in here. Could it possibly be something like radon? And he said, oh, no, there's none of that here. That's impossible. At this location and altitude.
Your fans on, because it's a terrible lecture for people getting cancer. It's like one, I don't know, in fact, like it's pretty bad. Like
it's the second leading cause of cancer, which I did not know.
But anyways, that's where we stand on the radon. We don't know what they're going to do, but someone said that they probably have to check every room. And then you might get yours tested for free, but if you don't trust them, you'll have to do your own thing, like I did with Marlene.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing the mitigation, or he's working with accessible space, so he might not be able to tell you much. But he's a nice guy, so he might be able to tell you some. I'm going to do a health talk show with them on radon. I did one with their people at UNR, one of the youngsters. It was a good show, but it doesn't emphasize California enough, so I'm going to do one with him. So I don't know if he's allowed to talk to you or not, but I'm sure he'll figure out a way to give the information you need. So there's a health talk, and then there's an hour one show. They're both in the new areas under my website.
Yeah.
It's not new to it. It's been a year. Maybe even longer, but I asked Suzanne about that well before he did the lecture.
I can't believe how scandalous these people are.
Well, maybe they just hire dumb people who don't know any better.
No. They've been around too long, doing this for too long.
So, I mean, if I was a corporation, you'd hire bullies like Suzanne and Steve that will be...
Because people reported it to them, what's been going on, and then they turn right around and lie and cover for these people.
That's why they're the perfect people to hire. They got their cushy jobs and they just want to keep them. So I have no idea why Suzanne's even here. She doesn't seem to like her job. She doesn't like people.
Yeah, and she's always saying that she doesn't have to work and she's only here because she chooses to be, but she doesn't need a job and she doesn't need to work here.
Yeah, probably good. Sure.
But then you're so nasty to everybody here. It's like you're just here for the... I don't know. Why are you here?
In a way, because I know how much Suzanne likes to gossip, and I didn't want to know anything more about Suzanne than I had to, or her about me, because she loves gossip. And they're terrible people. I don't respect either one of them.
Completely open-minded, and initially she came across friendly and stuff like that, but then when I started seeing how catty and nasty some of the things she was doing with other people, it's just a matter of time before they start being catty and nasty with you.
Mine did too. And then what they do, first time she didn't want to help me with my paperwork. The second time was I didn't do the forms right with the state of California, so they took away my Medicare, which means I lost a whole bunch of income, and I couldn't afford to pay my rent, and she didn't care. That was bad. That caused me a lot of stress. And then, when I had pneumonia, she was still making me move my car, and that was bad. I was dying. And then, it's a good thing. Oh, yeah.
I just had shoulder surgery, and they tell me, well, you have to clear the snow off your car so we can have the snow plows come in. And we've got this was a record snow. We were getting 6 feet of snow and 5 feet every other day, sometimes day to day, back to back. And they're telling me, I just came out of shoulder surgery, that I've got to shovel all that snow and stuff off my car.
Oh, yeah. I'm using a walker. She's telling me the same thing. Well, when I had pneumonia the year before, I went back to Deborah's, and they called Deborah's house and said I was being evicted, so I didn't move back. So I moved back, and then I'm sick as a dog in bed, and they both are standing in my living room or in my kitchen. The one they're doing this mold test, and I'm like, just get when I'm here to torture me. I mean, I didn't want either one of them on my domicile. It was just cruel. And then, the snow things, all they did, there's no reason in the world to move the cars. It's one of the little things. Like in my place, I don't know if you use the stairs, but there's a window on the staircase. Now, they froze my ass off up here. I'm right next to it. And the floor's cold and the wall's cold, and with my having to be on oxygen 24 hours a day. I've never lived any place where I had to have pants on and socks on and slippers on just to be able to be in my home. Because I'm freezing my ass off. They wouldn't keep the window closed. And finally, it got broken because of the snow putting the weight on it. And then he put a note up blaming us. I thought that was hilarious because it was Steve. They put it on the other hallway down the end of the hall too, blaming us. And it's just Steve. He likes to create stress. I mean, I left the post-it note saying, I'm cold. And it didn't matter. And now it's open, I guess, left the pollen in.
It's just a bully thing. He was homeless before he was hired to work here. He hadn't held a job for 15 years, his record. He's never worked anywhere even a year. And everything, because it was one of the things we brought up in court when I was trying to file a restraining order against him, everything on his job stuff was a lie. So how the heck did they even hire him to be here and give him keys to all of our apartments, unsupervised, You know, what kind of crap is that? You can't do a background check on somebody who's homeless. You just can't.
Well, that's true. I think that's...
And so there's no way that they checked him out thoroughly. We don't know if this guy's got a history of who knows what. You know, but he's got access to everybody's place and can say and do whatever he wants to. It's just unbelievable, to say the least.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, it's a lot of little things. When the guy next to me, Tom, when I was running for town board, I got his signature, and we had a chance to get to know each other a little bit. And he was telling me that the gal who does with the Harley or motorcycle, I don't know if the Harley's a motorcycle, but used to be his maid, and she put a blanket over his head at night one time, and he'd sleep in his wheelchair.
Yeah, that's another discussion I want to have with you, because Donnie told me something similar too, and she was the last person to see both of them before they died. So that's a whole issue I want to get into.
Okay.
Because the vulnerability of being disabled, and you have to entrust your care to these people, that was really fishy. And I think if we bring it up in the open, they'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
Because he told Deborah some of that too, and if we talk to Marlene and some of the other people, they might have told other people who live here similar information, and if so, the police need to look into that.
The next day he's dead. I don't know, but from what I know, she's the pusher for the housing place. She's the one that sells, Steve probably his drugs, and Donnie and whoever else around here does drugs, and so she probably didn't want to be wanted her stash back. Maybe she knew where he kept the drugs that she just sold him or something. I don't know. But and I've complained for the whole time I've been here. It's always dirty, and he doesn't care. And then just recently,
he does the least he possibly can. Just like you notice, right before we have an inspection, all of a sudden they clean up the building and clean the carpets and make it look nice right before the city inspection. But the rest of the year, it can stay as crappy as whatever.
So as soon as he did the Pine-Sol bomb, he'd just go around spraying with Lysol disinfectant. And then I don't know what the brand of the spray cans in the hallway of the community center is that squirt on us, but it might not even mix with the other chemicals either.
Well, does cause breathing, and if there's been complaints or has been brought to their attention, they should, back to ADA accommodations, they need to care and do something about it, which I know they don't, but I'm saying by law, they're supposed to. But I really want to get it apparent that this is a serious need, but it's also a serious issue, because you get control freaks in these jobs, and they abuse the people. And what's supposed to be a safe place for us to live and be able to live peacefully, we're bullied and abused by the people running these places.
Oh yeah,
and that's not just accessible space. That's facilities. This is an epidemic globally. And it needs to be addressed, because there needs to be a system of checks and balances to stop this stuff from being able to happen on a city, state, and federal level.
You can use what you have, but I'm starting to wear down.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much more I would even be clear.
I was going to say, if you're available tomorrow, are you fine with the questions?
Yeah. He told, I think Marlene thanked him for not using Pine-Sol. He says it doesn't clean, which is laughable because he's never cleaned properly the whole time I've been here. He makes